And Jerry, again, like, we can sit here and talk about the players, talk about all the situations, circumstances that haven't worked out over these last almost 30 years, where, like, the Cowboys are one of, like, 3 teams that haven't been to a conference final in the last 30 years. That's mind-boggling that the Cowboys have not. The Lions used to be on that list until last year.
Yeah.
It was 4 teams, and 2 of them were expansions, and Lions and Cowboys, if you could believe that. But this mess, this is Jerry Jones. And you know what? We knew this. This is not even a second guess. This is a first guess. Because in the offseason, when they didn't make any moves, you remember, to get better after they got blown out in the playoffs? What did we expect? I guess the only thing I'm surprised about is how bad the losses are at home.
Yeah. They're getting beat down. I think what's disappointing about it is, number one, that we have to come in here and talk about them. I'm so tired of talking about them. I hate talking about losers regularly. It's not like they were good and won a Super Bowl 2 or 3 years ago.
I
and
doing a
sports
radio show in Detroit for 20 years when I was there.
Yeah, that would have aged me quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, here I am just watching every game. But the fact that we still have to talk about them. Listen, we went into this season not having the greatest expectations, but the season wasn't supposed to look like this. But when you don't make moves, when Derrick Henry says he would love to come to Texas and you don't go get him.
And he says, and then Jerry had the nerve.
And we can't pay him.
We don't have enough money.
You figure it out. When you don't play CD Lamb early enough that hand ties you from making, handcuffs you from making other moves, there you go. When you decide to give Dak Prescott all the money in the world, again, here we go. We're in these positions. Now, again, some guys were injured. I'll give you that. But the fact is, it reminds me of the Jets where what can go wrong goes wrong. You got Jerry Jones mad at everybody, trying to fire radio people instead of looking in the mirror. Got Jerry Jones saying nobody else can do the job better than me, when that obviously is not the case. Jerry Jones, plenty of people are doing the jobs better than you in many different franchises throughout this league. Dak Prescott, again, is not looking great. He doesn't have the weapons he does. The running backs are a who's who of 10 years ago in college football. When you got Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know if I'm looking at him at Ohio State. Like, this
and
is like
you went back. That he doesn't show up to the meetings.
He's mad.
Late.
He's late. He's being Joel Embiid.
He got left behind for a road game because they said the guy was missing meetings.
Absolutely. So this whole situation is just horrible. You got Micah Parsons not putting his own quarterback in the top 10 quarterbacks. You got Micah Parsons every other day saying something that you hope he would not say on a podcast. So the whole thing is just going to rise. CD Lamb and Dak getting into it every other game.
Every other game,
6-7 games. So this is just a horrible situation as a whole. And then it's time, again, I think it's time for us and other people just move along. There's so many other teams who are doing well, who are playing well. They got MVP candidates on the team that don't get the love that they get. And I'm just over it. They look bad. They look horrible. They're not fun. They're not entertaining.
But you still got to cover the fire.
No, I know. And please cut the fire, put the smoke out, so we ain't got to talk about it no more. Because they just, again, it's just a horrible situation. It's just boring football. They're unenthused. They're not inspired. And there's no thing to point to, Rob, where you can say, hey, at least the defense is great. Hey, at least the offense, like, for instance, if this were the Bengals, I can say, well, look, hey, the Bengals are at least scoring a bunch of points and Joe Burrow's putting up crazy numbers, right? And you can have some optimism. You can say, all right, I got something to build on. Jamar Chase is going crazy. T. Higgins is back.
Joe Burrow had 9 touchdowns and 2 losses.
14, 15 touchdowns in the last 3 games.
And all losses.
But I have something to hang on to. With the Cowboys, there's nothing to hang your hat on. Dak Prescott, I don't even want you to come back. Even if he could have, I don't want that. So there's nothing exciting for the Dallas Cowboys. They done got your man, Stephen A. Smith, don't even want to talk about it no more. That's how bad it is. So it's just unenthused. There's nothing to hang your hat on. There's nothing exciting for the fan base. In fact, they might just be starting to get excited about who's coming in to just go see them. This might be the first time Jerry World looked like Arizona. You ever been to a Cardinal game? You ever been to a Charger game? It's really just a home game for the opposing team. And that's what the Jerry World might turn around and start looking like that. I'm only coming to see whoever's next up on the schedule. Because ain't nothing to see here.
Well,
they get stumped out regularly.
Well, that is the thing, is how bad.
They don't even win at home. You can't even call it Jerry's World no more. Call it whoever else is playing World.
We could call it
call it the Eagles World, because they ain't winning there. It ain't Jerry's.
Well, Jake Paul want to get one there.
It's so bad.
Jake Paul world now.
Rob Parker, it's so bad. Jerry, his own microphone wouldn't work at his own event. Well, one of the events in his own place. They had Jerry looking crazy. Jerry, this is an amazing event. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, what do you think?
He was talking. He was
talking. His mic wasn't even on. I'm paying way too much money for my own mic not to be on in my own world. That's how bad it is. They cut Jerry's mic in his own world, Ryan.
It is.
Somebody got fired. He's firing radio people for having an opinion. Yeah. You know he's firing the audio guy.
Well, those guys didn't get fired, thank God.
I'm just saying he wants to fire. He was dead serious too.
Yeah, he was not happy.
If it wasn't for people like me and you calling him out, you can't do that.
But Jerry, I mean, this is a mess that he's made for a long time.
Nobody can do it better, he said. Nobody can do the job better, Rob.
Okay, well, that's what he claims. I could think of one person who could do it better.
I can think of quite a handful of people who can do it better.
Yeah, but Jerry's just made a mess of this and won't own up to it. And, they run the place like a mom and pop store. And this is what you get. And people love football, so they're Cowboy fans. They keep showing up. They keep thinking it's going to be the year. I mean, I've never seen a franchise go through this that had so much success. And Jerry, remembers, already in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He had a dynasty going. And
right.
Remember, back in the 90s, and it just seemed you cannot believe so much time has gone on from that. I mean, that is so ancient history.
It's so long ago, and that's what makes it crazy is that they get. And then go be a Dallas Cowboy quarterback, you get you a TV job. You ain't got to win nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't even got to be that great of a coach. Garrett's got a job.
No, they all got jobs.
Right? You got Tony Romo's got a job. Troy Aikman. Now, Troy's great at this
Troy's
part of the
been there for a million years.
But Troy's great at his job. But Troy's got a job. Dak's going to get a job, too. So go be a quarterback that doesn't have to win anything and go get a job. Go be a Cowboy. I'm so mad right now. Because it's just to your point. It's not like, again, they're the Patriots where they won a bunch, or even if you want to say the Patriots, but let's say the Ravens, they've won a Super Bowl, or a couple other teams have won some Super Bowls or been real contenders for a while now. Like, dude, they ain't even did. This ain't the Steelers we're talking about all the time who have some history of winning and have been to a couple of Super Bowls. And Mike Tomlin only won the one, but at least he's been to a couple. They ain't been nowhere.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Lions, the lousy Lions, that been to an NFC championship. And in fact, we have expectations that the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, if the Lions get to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, I know Martin Weiss is going to be turned up. Dallas Cowboys. Talk about that no more, Rob.
It's been going on for years. This ain't the first year. The only thing that's different is how bad they're losing. That you know what I mean? Because they've lost playoff games. They've looked terrible in those spots. We get it. They've won 12 games in a row, 12 games a year the last 3 years. So they've always been in the conversation. And every year, oh, yeah, this could be the year for the Cowboys. I don't know how many times, they want to cover Sports Illustrated or something
sure.
that they were going to ESPN on the cover of their website that the Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl this year. Because they've had players and whatnot, and they always believe this is going to be it. And everybody always thinks that it's like it happens because this was in Detroit for a long time. Well, at some point, the odds have to be in our favor.
Just because.
Just because. Like, you got to win eventually. And years went by. Every year. Now, this year. Every year. And I was like, it doesn't work like that. You got to draft right. You got to have the right coach, general manager. You got to know what you're doing. The teams that win do that right. Every once in a blue moon, you might get luck. Somebody will be lucky. But they'll have some great player or something that'll elevate everybody else. But it ain't by happenstance. And the only reason I say that is it took the Red Sox 81 years. 81. It took the Cubs over 100 years to win. Think about that.
It's crazy.
Over 100 years.
A major market, too. Not like some random small mom and pop team.
Right.
Yeah, that's a major team. One of the
over
more bigger franchises.
Over 100 years. That's mind-boggling.
Yep. And the difference is baseball is a sport. Like, you can get away with not winning because it's so hard to win, and we don't hold you to that. Football, to be America's team, to be the most talked about, the most lucrative, all right, now I'm going to need some W's to match up to all this talking. Between the Jets and the Cowboys, boy, we talking a whole bunch about the losers. That's what happens right now. But it's time to blow that whole thing up too and reset. And the last point I'll say quickly, Cowboys, like the Lakers, sometimes the issue is they're scared to just blow the whole thing up because we have to win now. But at least the Lakers can say we have won.
They don't want to rebuild.
Yeah,
right.
The Cowboys haven't won. So what's wrong if you rebuild for 2 or 3 years and end up having a team that can compete for 6? Like the Lions have rebuilt, and let's say they don't win it this year. We all expect them to come back and be really good next year, and they can compete for a few 4, 5, 6 years. What's wrong with that? It ain't like you win. At least the Lakers can say, "Yo, we've won the '80s in the early, the early 2000s and won a game with." We have this thing where we do win. Cowboys, you haven't won anything. What's wrong with blowing it up and starting over? You don't win anyway.
Well, but that's what you would do if you trade Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I'm saying, what you want?
Right, and start to
garage sale.
And start to finally say, hey, we need some picks. We got to fill these holes and just start over.
Yep.